This is Delhi High Court's big comment on the government. They have in fact pulled up the government over the pollution crisis that is only worsening day by day. In fact, they have urged the government to cut the GST on purifiers from 18% to 5%, citing the dire pollution situation in the national capital. In fact, not just this, a public interest litigation, which is a PIL petition, has also argued that air purifiers should be classified as medical devices and taxed at a lower rate, making them more affordable for the public. All right, joining me on the phone line is our executive legal editor, Ridham Anand Bharadwaj. Ridham, this is a huge statement coming in from the Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court has in fact urged the government to consider reducing the GST on air purifiers. Ridham, if you can hear me, this is a huge development that is coming in. Delhi HC is not mincing any words. The High Court has categorically said that the GST on the air purifiers need to be slashed. They have now pulled up the government over the pollution crisis that is only worsening as we speak, Ridham. All right, while we try and connect that line back with Ridham Anand Bharadwaj, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big development on the AQI crisis in the national capital. The Delhi High Court has pulled up the government and they have categorically told them slash the GST on air purifiers. In fact, they have also told them to slash the GST from 18% to 5%, citing the dire air conditions, air pollution situation in Delhi. In fact, a PIL petition also argues that air purifiers should be classified as medical devices and taxed at a lower rate. All right, I believe we have been able to connect the line back with our legal executive editor, Ridham Anand Bharadwaj. Ridham, if you can hear me, this is a huge statement coming in from the Delhi High Court. They have in fact pulled up the centre over the worsening, over the dire air situation, air pollution crisis in the national capital.
Let's tell our viewers the three big points that are coming in from the Delhi High Court right now. They said they will keep this matter on the vacation bench. They have slammed, the Delhi High Court has slammed the government and said, if you're not able to give us good air, at least ensure that the GST is slashed on the air purifiers. This petition is much more than just talking about air purifiers. The Delhi High Court has clarified and they have clearly stated they want good air. So they have said this is a situation of national emergency. Slamming the government, they said treat this situation as an emergency. They are going to once again hear the matter at 2:30. That is in 1 hour from now, the Delhi government has told the government council, the Delhi High Court has told the government council, immediately come back at 2:30, tell us what you're going to do in this case. Treat it as an emergency. They've asked the government council, how many times do you breathe in a day? 21,000 times. Calculate the harm you are doing to yourself. We want instructions at 2:30. Give an exemption from the 15 days on a temporary basis. If you cannot, you ensure that air purifiers are no longer going to be treated as a luxury. We can clearly see that this bench, and everywhere we are seeing this anguish being caused, this is the division bench of the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, Devendra Kumar Upadhyaya, and Justice T. Rao Gedela. They've said if authorities cannot provide clean air for citizens to breathe, then the best they can do is reduce the GST on air purifiers, which are being treated as a tax at 18%. But this is not only about the GST on air purifiers. The larger question that the Delhi High Court is asking is, every citizen requires fresh air. That is the minimum you have to give. And this is exactly the question that Republic TV has been asking when we've been saying there has to be a nota for AQI. The Parliament did not debate upon the air pollution case. The Supreme Court was not able to come to a consensus on it, even though they do have a CAQM that's looking into the matter, monitoring the matter. But what really is happening with this case has to now be seen. The top court did try and tell all the authorities to work, but finally it's for the government to take note of this, and finally it's the Delhi High Court also asking very pointed questions. 2:30 today, they demand an answer, slamming the Delhi government on the GST.
Absolutely, Ridham. In fact, the Delhi High Court has also made some really pointed. They have in fact pulled up the centre. They have in fact told them categorically to treat the situation as an emergency. Like you were correctly pointing out, with the Delhi High Court now pulling up the centre, can we expect the centre to now respond to this dire situation?
So what the Delhi High Court has said is, let air purifiers be provided. That is the minimum you can do. They expressed their displeasure at the fact that there is no fresh air. They've demanded answers immediately today within 1 hour, saying, when will you come back? Even if it is for temporary, give exemption for the next 1 month. This is an emergency situation. Tell us now what you're going to do. Sit and tell us. We are waiting for instructions. As we speak, and this is so important because the Delhi High Court is speaking in the voice of the common man, people in the NCR who are breathing this hazardous air. The AQI is hazardous today. They're saying as we speak, we are all breathing. You know how many times we are breathing in a day? And anguished High Court is asking at least 21,000 times a day. Just calculate the harm you are doing to your lungs just by breathing 21,000 times a day, and that is involuntary. Justice Gadela has remarked during this hearing, the matter is now going to be taken up at 2:30. They've enabled the council to get instructions from the union government in this matter, and this is just not a contention for air purifiers that need to be exempted at this emergency time, but the larger question is really going to be what the Delhi government or any government is going to do on the AQI.
Well, absolutely, Rhythm. Thank you for getting us those updates. Ladies and gentlemen, the AQI situation continues to worsen there. With now the Delhi High Court has now pulled up the government and they have told the government categorically, treat the situation as an emergency. We continue to track this and a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to